the differential is built. You can see it here, fully built. And now this gets installed into the front, one half of the front bulkhead. Before I install it into the bulkhead, the CVD needs to be built and installed in here. It gets trapped in here by those 3 screws. The CVD gets this main gear, a couple of spacers, a couple of bearings, spacers. These are the 3 screws that hold it into this small hole here. So you assemble the CVD first and then slide it through that hole. It seats into here, and then the 3 screws hold it in.
Team Baxter.
Here's a CVD shaft kind of trapped in this little spur here, strapped in there by that pin right there that's been inserted through. You can see the other half of it right there, and that's what's holding it in, the little bar in there. Before I put this together, I put a little bit of grease down in there, and that kind of works its way around as it keeps rotating. 2 little spacers on there. They go on there in the first place before anything. I did not put the bearings on yet because I wanted to show how they capture the pin, locking it in. So I'll slide one on. You see it slides right over the whole little gear assembly. Ask you to put a spacer on, slide the spacer on, another bearing, and this bearing covers up the pin. So that pin is covered, and it all gets trapped in with this little C-clip that pops over this ridge here. May need to use a pair of pliers. Requires a little bit of pressure to get that on there well. So I was able to push that over, make sure it's seated, snaps over. You'll hear it sort of click into place when it's actually seated, and everything should be moving freely when you're done. You can already see that grease is starting to work itself out of the hole. Just kind of what I wanted. So as I was saying before, this gets inserted into the front half of the bulkhead. Goes right through this hole like so. Pulls down and seats. There's a lip inside of this that this seats down onto. Slide it down. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. You can hear it snap down in. And then those 3 tiny 2.6 screws hold just the edges of those bearings in. And that's what keeps the CVD in there. A little crazy, but that's the way it goes. So put those screws in there and keep it moving. So I've got the CVD installed into this front bulkhead. You can see it locked in there with those 3 screws. And what I'm doing now is dropping this differential that I built into this bulkhead. The bearings get seated right on the little carriers. Drop it in there. Try not to twist it too much because I don't want that grease to start moving yet. See it seats right up in there. See it working just a little bit. The top on. nice little seal here, snapped together. And this gets secured by 6 screws. Along with the shock tower gets installed as well. This all gets screwed together. 6 countersunk screws go into this. And then the body posts get mounted as well. 2 body posts and the little piece that holds the body posts. That completes the front diff and bulkhead assembly. You can see the shock tower installed now, along with the body posts, the body mounts. Pretty flimsy right here. This body mount, the post for the body mounts is a little soft, but keep on moving. Now comes the rear differential and housing the rear differential. There you can see the gears up under there. So set this aside and move on to the rear differential.